Okay, I think it's around the 16th or 17th of May, 2023, here in the Gilbert, Arizona area. It is about 100 degrees outside, but in here it's 77 degrees, but it's got almost 40% humidity. We've had a bunch of storms come through the last couple of days, which kind of surprised us, but that kind of helps me out. And then I help circulate with the fan up there. But what I'm up to is I've been busy. I've worked on my bench, as you can see. So I've got my lathe tools. I put in an electrical box. It's got a switch on it. Now the switch is really there to protect my great-grandson and a couple other of the babies, because they can reach the switch on the record power Coronet Herald. And the 6-year-old did that, but fortunately he didn't realize how to get it to work, or he could have gotten hurt. So I've been doing all those things. I've got a piece of zebra wood. It's about 10 inches in diameter. I took a piece of the walnut we brought back from Iowa down there, as you can see, and that's here. It's 7 inches thick by about 12 inches. I've got another chunk of walnut here that I got to figure out how I want to cut it to make it work. And then that piece back there, just don't know. Anyway, I'm not going to show anybody how I turn, because I'm afraid they might try to do what I do, and that could be dangerous. But I'm going to lose my battery. Anyway, this has worked out really well. I've been using basically the carbide tools and scrapers, but I did get with the finally got my nerve up and used the gouge a few times, and I'll use the gouge on this until I decide I'm not at that level yet. This light, as I said before, is really cool. It turns around and lights up the router table. But I'm really pleased with this setup. It works out really well. I can keep a lot of the things up here on top. As you can see, since I have different types of chucks, and I got to work with the shopsmith as well, I've got all those things. That light doesn't have anything to do with this. A lot of lathe tools, probably more than I'll ever use or need, but what the heck, Amazon is a tempting thing to do. So anyway, when I get through with this thing, I'll come back and show it at different phases, but I'm not going to show it being turned. I'm making sawdust. I think you should do the same. Yeah, I ate that here. I didn't know if I'd make another video, but I've obviously learned a few things in the last couple of weeks working with the lathe and the wood. And the one thing I learned, actually on the last video, I showed the next piece I was going to do, and I said it was a piece of walnut. Actually, I wouldn't recognize a piece of walnut from a good piece of ash. And that's what it is. So I'm going to show you, because I'm pretty sure that's what it is. If I'm wrong, I hope you can tell me, because I'm still learning and I need to kind of know. Okay, this is what I'm talking about. I really thought this was a piece of walnut, but it's not. It's obviously, I'm sure, a piece of ash, and it is as hard as marble. And I tried carbide, I tried gouges, and the only thing I could really get through to this thing with was this monster here, the little beaver, and it went through this thing pretty easily after I got all the nasty parts off of it. And it's smoothed down pretty good. I haven't sanded it yet, but it's really looking alright. It's about 10 inches diameter yet. The thing I'm really concerned about, however, is this stuff here. This is really nasty, and it's deep. And I'm thinking what I may want to do is turn this around after I sand it down and take the chainsaw and cut off down to this line I've drawn right here. I don't know that I want to try and turn it and worry about these pieces flying off or whatever, so, because it really is a nasty piece of wood. What I may do is try and turn it, see what happens as I turn it with the beaver, and see if it's going to hold together And if it does, then I may just go ahead and take it on down with the lathe I don't think I want to use a gouge on it. Just too many cracks and crevices on it. For me anyway. Maybe not for you. We'll see. I'll come back to this sometime later. Okay, so I've got this ash bowl set up on the Shopsmith. I didn't video it, but as you can see I had to use 2 extensions. This steady rest is so big that you really can't get close to the end stock. But at 500 RPM, this is turning quite well. Now, I don't think you can see them, but there's 2 breaks on this where this thing came apart. One here, right here. It's almost impossible to see now. What I used was super glue, but it really broke off a big chunk. So I didn't turn that area. I used this sanding board and just set it up and went over it and went over it and over it. So now I got to sand a bunch of it now, and I will before I move it back over to the other lathe. But what I used was my scraper to come in and clean up this here, and it wasn't really deep enough. So now it's 3/8 of an inch deep. So that takes it deeper than the break. So hopefully it'll stay together on the Coronet Herald. So I've got to do a lot of sanding. Takes 2 extensions, then a live center. I'll have to do a little bit of sanding by hand when I get all this done. But it's now almost 3/8 of an inch deep. And it's flat. So I used the flat carbide and I used the scrapers. One is the carbide scraper, then the wider scraper to get in here and reestablish this for the lathe, the inset, the angle. Now I'll get this out of the way as much as I can to protect my hands, obviously, and proceed to sand for a while until I get this all sanded, and I'll probably put a little bit of finish back on it. I don't know. Probably will. I could have shown it, but I decided not to. It worked out really well. No problems. I guess I'm learning. Yeah. Mistakes are the best learning tool in the world, aren't they? Okay, an hour and a half of sanding, and starting with 60 grit on up to 400. Put on some sanding sealer, Zinsser, shellac base, and I think you can kind of see the beauty of this piece of ash. I put on Yorkshire grit, and then I'm going to go ahead and take some denatured alcohol and clean off that, and then go ahead and put on a couple coats of shine juice, and that'll be it for now. So I'm finally getting there. Well, believe it or not, I finally got this thing hollowed out. It's got knots in it all over the place, and those knots are just kept catching and kept catching and kept catching. So what I did was I used the end stock and put the live center up against it to make sure it didn't come flying out at me. Took me about, I don't know, an hour. With intermittent breaks I can only stand so long. But anyway, I am happy with it. The wall's about, I don't know, a good ½ inch thick, and that's how thick it's going to stay. I've got a whole lot of sanding to do with all the catches I had. I worked it out. I used this monster here, and I tried the scraper a couple times, but it didn't like being in there at all. So, and it's fairly deep. Anyway, I'll show this again once I get it sanded and finished, and that'll be the end of this video. Almost the end of me. More to come. Okay, well, I finally got her done. Wrap it up tonight and get it ready to mail off. Get a little bit above it and take another look inside. Really looks pretty good. Anyway, I think it does. All signed and ready to go. The bowl from hell. So it's headed for Lincoln, Nebraska. Ryan and Mary, congratulations on your wedding. So sorry we couldn't be there. This slick sucker is just going all over this little table, isn't it? Anyway, I hope you enjoyed. Hey, thanks for watching the video. I know it was kind of long, but I learned a lot, made some mistakes, but it came out pretty nice. And this thing really likes to shine. So, thanks for watching. Please leave comments. Stay safe.